Today, we're going to dig into a story that I think is super familiar, but with a really cool modern twist. We're talking about how one of the absolute most frustrating parts of building a business, those subjective choices, got solved with cold, hard, objective data.
I mean, have you ever been just completely paralyzed by a choice? I mean, truly stuck. You know that feeling, right? Where every single option seems just as good or maybe just as bad, and all the advice you get just yanks you in a totally different direction? Yeah, that's called decision paralysis. And let me tell you, it can stop even the most exciting projects right in their tracks.
So, this brings us to our story. This is the exact problem that our subject, Alex, was up against. A single choice that felt just absolutely monumental.
Alex had poured everything into this dream, okay? Creating the perfect little local coffee shop. They called it the Daily Grind. I mean, the location was locked down, the fancy espresso machine was all ready to go, but this one final crucial detail was bringing everything to a screeching halt. The logo. And look, this wasn't just about picking a pretty picture. No way. This was about identity. It was about the entire soul of the business. Was the Daily Grind going to be this sleek, modern spot for the serious coffee nerds? Or was it going to be a warm, welcoming hub for the whole community? You see, the entire vibe of the place was wrapped up in this one single design choice.
So, yeah, after what I'm sure felt like endless hours with the designer, Alex was down to two final contenders. Two logos. But really, they were two completely different paths for the business.
All right, so on one side, you've got Logo A. We're calling it the Modernist. It's got that super minimalist, clean feel, It screams sophisticated, maybe a little high-end, definitely trustworthy. But then you've got Logo B, the Community Hub. This one's playful. It's vibrant. It's got that friendly kind of handwritten font. It just immediately feels warm and inviting. I mean, two great options, right? Well, that was exactly the problem.
So what did Alex do? Exactly what all of us would do. They asked their friends and family for their opinion. And surprise, surprise, the advice was totally split down the middle. One friend would take a look at Logo A and just go, "Oh, that is so chic, so professional."
And then, of course, the very next person would look at Logo B and say, "Yeah, but this feels like a place I'd actually want to hang out." This conflicting feedback, it wasn't helpful at all. In fact, it just made the paralysis even worse. Alex was completely and utterly stuck. Okay, so Alex realized a gut decision just wasn't going to cut it here. They had to get out of their own head, and they had to get away from all those conflicting opinions from friends. They needed a real tiebreaker. And that's when they turned to something different. They turned to data.
What Alex found was this thing called a user preference test. And the idea behind it is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Instead of asking people you know who might just tell you what you want to hear, you get unbiased, real-world data from the people who actually matter, your potential customers.
And you know what? The process was surprisingly easy. Alex used an online testing platform, set up a quick test, uploaded both of the logos, and then aimed it right at the target audience. People in their local area who fit that perfect coffee shop customer profile. And get this, the very next day, the results were in.
So this was it, the moment of truth. Was the data actually going to give a clear answer, or was it just going to lead to more confusion? Let's take a look at what Alex found.
Whoa, okay. So, the hard numbers were not even close. A staggering 78% of potential customers preferred Logo B, that community-focused design. I mean, that's a total landslide. So, case closed, right? Pick B and move on? Well, not quite. See, the numbers, as powerful as they are, they only tell you what people chose. The real gold, the game changer, was in the qualitative data, the comments from the participants. That's where Alex finally understood the why. Let's look at the feedback for Logo A, this sophisticated one. It was incredibly revealing. People said things like it felt too serious, and one person even said it looked like a high-end chain. Oof! That was the exact opposite of the cozy neighborhood vibe Alex was trying to create. But now, contrast that with the feedback for Logo B. Someone actually wrote, "The Steam Cloud feels so friendly. I'd grab my laptop and head there for hours." Wow! That single comment, it perfectly captured the exact feeling Alex was hoping for. It showed this wasn't just a logo anymore.
It was an invitation.
So armed with this crystal clear feedback straight from their future customers, Alex finally had the clarity they'd been so desperately looking for.
And just like that, the paralysis, it just dissolved, gone. That overwhelming weight of the decision was lifted. See, it wasn't a guess anymore. It was a choice. And it was a choice backed by the very people Alex wanted to serve. You can just imagine that profound sense of relief and confidence.
So what's the big takeaway from Alex's story? It's pretty clear, right? Data isn't some big, scary, abstract thing just for giant corporations. No, it's a direct line to your audience. It validates your gut feelings. And it turns a paralyzing guess into a confident, informed choice. That is how you solve a conundrum.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Look, we all face our own version of the logo problem, don't we? That choice where we feel totally stuck. So I'll leave you with this question. What conundrum in your work, in your project, or heck, even in your life, could be solved if you just stopped guessing and actually started listening to your audience?